Hello, hello. God bless you, and welcome to another podcast. A simplistic word with Elder Dwight Kenneth Kirk. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. On today, we will continue. Where did we lose God in this walk? Part 2. Where did we lose God in this walk? Part 2. We argue so much with difference of opinion on who God is, how God works, what God will do. We have tele-evangelists that lie. They have us believing this and that. There's so much deception and being deceived and people just giving wrong and bad information. We have for so many years been under the impression that you better stop messing with God because God will kill you right on the spot. God's not going to continue to allow this. And it will and it shall come to an end. I'm not saying that that's what has happened. I'm just saying some things that we have been saying over the years, and Elder Kirk is 47 years old, and with what I see going on, God's not in these churches. A lot of these churches that claim God and doing the things that they are doing, God's not even there. How can God allow? We have free will, everyone. If we make the decision to be a mockery to God, guess what? As you can see, it happens. Our children, my daughter showed me some children with stage diving off the stage as the worship was going on, and I said, man, it's getting crazy. It was Kevin on stage and shared it. And then after that, he showed a guy breaking into Michael Jackson while he was doing praise and worship. We allow so much of the world into the church. I believe it. God be like, I'm done. I'm gone. Peace out. I'm not messing with y'all. Call on me till the cows come home. I'm not messing with you. I have nothing to do with you. And then they sit there all their lives, die, and there's no heaven for them. And they don't understand. Leadership is failing. We have such bad leadership in the White House that it's trickling down to where we are today. We allow anything. We come up with far-fetched solutions to problems. I will continue to say that we're brainwashed, because I know I was. And it's still going on because people are going to get up Sunday morning, put on their Sunday best, and go right back to the building. I've shared on my Facebook a few things. It's something I'm sharing. And during my research, and I've shared a couple of posts on tithes. I request this, that some of us by faith believe in tithes, but will we please begin to research? Look at the videos that I shared. Scriptures were shared and a lot of historical, facts were given. And Elder Kirk's not tithing. I'm not going to continue to. This is where our problem is becoming. if I don't agree with tithing, I'm not gonna, anyone that I deal with, I'm not gonna sit here and say, okay, you tithing, okay, you have that right. The problem is, I'm one of the people when you see on the conscious tip, it wasn't working. It wasn't that I wasn't trying, it wasn't working. I knew that there was a problem. I knew that there was something wrong. I've shared with y'all before. I was in the ministry and something, God hit me, something's not right. I wasn't moving. And it's not to stand in front of people or travel the world. I just knew that my family and I were not moving. I knew that the finances were coming in, but nothing was moving. And I'm like, something's wrong. And it wasn't me and my natural man, because I was still faithful to the church. I was still working hard and still sitting there all day on Sunday. Come on now. The one day that I had off, because I was working 6 days a week. And my one day, I'm at the church. So it wasn't that I just spiritually, I knew something was wrong. Where did we lose God in this walk? Man, I said this on many occasions, man has made God hard. And I'm not talking about his heart. I'm talking about how we see God. Have you ever heard of a person, if you're talking to them, and they just do not believe that they're worthy of God because the church seems like that building. If you're not dealing with that building, or you're not doing the things that the church say, or the church uses the Bible to make it look like, then they do not even believe that God loves them. That's crazy. How? That's not taught. That's not in the Bible. Have you ever noticed that in teachings when you're in the church and in righteous indignation, they will say, the pastor will say, I'm sorry that I chose God and you didn't. I know I'm saved. I know God loved me. I come here Sunday after Sunday, and when the church doors open, and I show God my appreciation. So you say that to a person so long, guess what? They no longer, what? God ain't for me, But when you come to Elder Kirk will quickly let you know. God loves you regardless of whether you're going in that building or not. It's your personal relationship. That's where we reconnect. But we can't reconnect, everybody, because we're still depending on the pastor. We're still depending on the building. And that's the problem. I've said these things that I pray to God that everybody's been released and the chains have been broken. How can you tell me to get God out of the box when you're telling me if I don't go to the box, I can't get him? Take God out the box. Take God out the box. That's why you're not growing spiritually. You won't take God out the box. But you tell me that he can only work within the realms of those 66 books. It may be deeper revelation, but God is not going to do anything except what's in them books. And you and I have both heard it. We have lost connection with God. Oh, I say to my most prolific pastor, I say it to associates and all, because we have to go by the traditional setup. As long as we are obedient to the traditional setup, everybody, we get the same results. We just go round and round and round and round. I've been on this speaker since 2014, and I say this at the end of every year. You're going to get a mighty word from God on the end of this year, and here you are back. And from the end of 2016 to 2017, and you have already heard God has a word. But for some reason, you can't get a word on your own that is that has anything to do with your personal life. But you won't hear anything about your life until you're at the church giving money and hollering and screaming the year end. And dancing. I'm sorry, come on now. You know, hey, come on. Elder Kirk was there. We danced that year in. And I still had a tough year. I'm just, please accept my offense. I danced. I hollered till I lost my throat. Cried. Did everything. Shouted to God. Guess what? It was still a hard year. Because I was still going to the building. I was still thinking, because the pastor was teaching, that that's what I needed to do to get to God. Where did we lose God in this walk? Where? I prayed. I love God. I do. I don't play no games. I take it seriously. Just as I was telling you before when I was going in the building. I was doing praise and worship. I didn't play any games. I did not like to play with God. That's the way I saw it. That's why I see it. I didn't play with God when it came to the church. I shared this one time before in a speaker I've done in the past, and I said I was deacon at the time, and I saw the kids were dancing around. They weren't doing, they were, youngins, you know what I'm saying, they trying to get away in the back of the church doing, regular street dances while praise and worship was going on. And then after church in the sanctuary, they was singing, was a T.I., You Don't Know Me, and all this other stuff. And Elder Kirk didn't say nothing because it was a family church. So I'm Deacon Kirk, whatever the case may be. So but God didn't allow that. I had to do tithes and offerings on Sunday. And I was teaching on that from time to time, and that's why I continue to tell y'all I did it. So I was teaching on tithes and offerings, and God reminded me to take care of that situation. And before I began to sing, to not sing, I did that too. Before I would teach on the tithes and offerings, I said to the young people that this is the house of the Lord, and in the sanctuary, you don't need to be singing T.I. or any of the mothers. You can do it in the parking lot, and you can do it in the, but not in the sanctuary. So after we were done, the young people were like, Deacon Kirk, can we please speak in the back, because we feel some kind of way about what you said. I said, well, of course, we sure can. And we went to the back, and I, made sure that they thoroughly understood, that they knew that this is what it is, scriptures and all. I just don't like to play with God. I just, that's like I said when y'all heard me, the whipping, the nay during praise and worship, when they did the Jay-Z thing, they did the Jay-Z praise and worship little dance and stuff like that. That I just don't. That's just not Elder Kirk. It's never been. Never been. The reason we discuss this about losing connection with God, y'all, is because anybody listening to me, please do not go back to the building for the next 30 years and just do the same circle. Don't just go in this circle that's meant to keep going on until you die. We're supposed to be happy. We said that the church is supposed to be the hospital for the sick, right? But it's where they gossip. It's where they argue. Don't get me wrong. You can always go and everybody smiling and hugging and but guess what? It will always raise its ugly head. The nasty individuals that we are. how we really feel. A lot of stuff is not the devil, y'all.